Imagine a life where you no longer have to chase anyone, no longer need anyone's approval to feel worthy. A life where your peace is not shaken by the noise outside, and your purpose is not defined by the opinions of others. Each morning you wake, not in chaos, but to the gentle voice of your own heart, a voice you've long ignored because the world was too loud. It is the voice of truth, of a soul yearning to be heard. Picture this: you are alone, yet not lonely. You've let go of what no longer serves you, relationships that drain you, expectations that mislead you, and roles that make you forget who you truly are. In that stillness, something miraculous begins to unfold, not from the outside, but from deep within. Clarity, strength, and truth slowly awaken. Buddhism teaches that true transformation does not begin in the crowd, but in solitude, the sacred space where the soul finally has room to breathe, to listen, to recognize its own pure nature. From the moment you dare to sit with yourself, the healing begins. In a world that constantly demands you to do more, become more, and have more, stillness seems useless. Yet in truth, it is the most courageous act of all. For when there's nowhere left to run, you begin to face yourself. When there's no one left to please, you begin to understand yourself. And when the noise fades, you finally hear your heart clear, powerful, and honest enough to move you to tears. Solitude is not isolation. It is return. It takes nothing away. It gives everything back: the peace you lost, the self-respect that faded, the clarity once buried under the weight of others' expectations. It is the state where you no longer need to prove anything, only to live in rhythm with your own breath. When the mind becomes still, life reveals itself. When you stop running, the path appears. In quietude, you do not lose the world, you rediscover yourself within it. And from that very still place, you begin to see what haste had always blinded you, to that you need nothing more to be enough, only less of what does not belong. This is the true beginning of every rebirth, the journey inward where you relearn how to be alone yet whole, how to be silent yet radiant, how to let go yet remain strong. From the moment you choose to turn inward, the journey of rebirth begins. But to truly be reborn, you must remove each invisible chain that has bound you for so long. The 12 Buddhist principles form that path, a way of awakening, of letting go of inner freedom. And the first principle, the root of all transformation, is this: release the illusion of control. Most human suffering does not arise from what happens, but from how we insist it must happen. We want others to behave our way, life to follow, our design events to unfold according to our plans. And when life refuses, we become disappointed, angry, anxious. But the truth, as painful as it is simple, remains. You cannot control the world. You cannot control what people say, what they do when things happen, or the unpredictable turns of fate. Life is uncertain, humans are imperfect, and circumstances change without warning. The Buddha taught that suffering does not come from what we lose, but from clinging to how we think things should be. You only hurt when you hold too tightly. You only truly lose when you try to keep what was never yours. The more you seek control, the more freedom slips away. The tighter you grip, the faster life escapes your grasp. Look back. How many times have you exhausted yourself, trying to fix others, trying to change outcomes, trying to make everything perfect? How many times have you felt drained, fighting what only needed to be accepted? When you stop forcing, the miracle begins. Because then you no longer waste energy resisting reality. You redirect it toward the only thing you truly command: your own response. Letting go is not surrender. It is deep understanding that freedom lies within, not in making life obey your will. When you cease forcing life, you begin to see its wholeness even in imperfection. When you stop demanding others to change, you begin to understand what true love is: to love without possession, to observe without control. Let go of your desire to control outcomes, to fix people, to perfect everything. When you no longer resist reality, you no longer suffer because of it. In surrender, there is wisdom. In acceptance, there is power. You do not grow weaker by letting go. You simply awaken from the illusion that you are the center of the universe. And in that very moment, when you release your grip on control, when you allow things to be as they are, you become clearer, lighter, freer. Life will continue to turn, but you will no longer be swept away. You will stand grounded, serene, watching things come and go like passing clouds. For in the end, the greatest power lies not in controlling life, but in receiving it with peace. In an age where everything can fill an empty space, we've forgotten how to sit quietly with ourselves. Whenever we feel emptiness, we reach for our phones. When sadness comes, we play music. When anxiety rises, we seek someone to talk to, anything to escape the silence. But every time we run from ourselves, we also lose the chance to understand who we are. The Buddha taught that the root of all transformation lies not in action, but in conscious stillness. When you sit, not to judge, not to fix, but to listen, you begin to see what hides beneath the noise, unacknowledged sadness, unnamed fears and desires you've never allowed yourself to feel. Beneath that seemingly frightening silence lies truth and clarity. Sitting with yourself is not punishment, it is homecoming. Let the stillness feel awkward at first. Let the emotions rise. Then simply sit, observe, breathe, and do nothing. When you stop trying to fix yourself, the mind begins to heal on its own. You realize you were never empty, only unheard, never broken, only misunderstood. And from that silence, the first light begins to emerge. But for that light to grow, you must walk through darkness. That is where the third principle begins. Embrace pain to be reborn. Humans fear pain because they see it as wrong, as something to avoid. Yet in Buddhist teaching, pain is not the enemy, it is the teacher. It does not come to destroy, but to awaken. A seed must crack before it sprouts. A soul must dissolve before it can evolve. When you stop fleeing from suffering, you begin to hear its message. Every failure teaches resilience. Every heartbreak reveals what you truly value. Every silence brings you back to yourself. So instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" That question is the key that opens the door of awareness. Pain ceases to be a wound and becomes purification. It burns away weakness, dependency, and fear so that clarity and strength can be born. No one is reborn within their comfort zone. True maturity belongs to those who dare to face their wounds, to cry for what was lost, and then rise again with a heart softer yet steadier than before. Do not rush to push pain away. Sit with it. Let it tell you what life wants you to understand. Because when you can feel gratitude even for your tears, you've already walked halfway toward healing. Pain does not destroy you. It is only when you run from it that it weakens you. But when you face it with presence, it no longer merely hurts you, it transforms you. In a world that constantly urges us to have more, do more, become more, simplicity may sound like a step backward, but in truth, it's the only way to move forward in the right direction. The Buddha taught that desire is the root of suffering, and craving is not limited to material things. It includes every form of attachment to recognition, attention, emotions, and others' expectations. Every possession, every unnecessary relationship, every needless commitment is a rope that drains your energy. Look around a room full of things you don't use, a mind crowded with stories you don't need, and a schedule packed with tasks you don't truly want to do. That is not living, it is being occupied. When there's no space, your soul cannot breathe. Simplicity doesn't mean lack. It means knowing what's enough. It is keeping only what nourishes peace. Clear away what's material. Clear away relationships that exist only out of obligation. Clear away the repetitive thoughts that serve no purpose. Each time you let go of something unnecessary, you open space for light to enter. A simple life is not boring, it is liberating. When you're no longer bound by too much, you begin to hear your heart's true call and see what really matters. In having less, you find enough. In slowing down, you go deeper. When you live lightly, your spirit brightens. And from that foundation of simplicity arises the fifth principle: become the observer, not the reactor. Most people suffer not because of what happens, but because of how they react to it. A hurtful word, a memory that touches an old wound, and instantly the mind ignites like fire. But the Buddha taught, you are not your emotions, you are the one who sees them. That small distinction is life's greatest freedom. When you learn to take half a step back, you are no longer swept away by anger, fear, or sorrow. You begin to see that emotions are waves passing across the surface of the sea. They are not the sea itself. Whenever emotion arises, breathe. Don't resist, don't suppress, and don't let it command you. Observe it like clouds drifting across the sky. You'll see anger fade, fear settle, sorrow pass. When you stop reacting, your mind no longer gets pulled away. And when the mind stays still, wisdom reveals itself. Becoming the observer is not detachment, it's awareness. It's creating space between yourself and the storm. In that space, you reclaim your power to choose. No longer I'm angry, so I shout, but I see the anger and I choose silence. That is the shift from instinct to awareness, and only when you are still enough to observe are you bright enough to live. Because true strength doesn't lie in reacting fast, it lies in keeping peace amid chaos. Within each of us live many versions of ourselves. The child once mocked, the adult once betrayed, the soul once wounded. Over time, we gather all those memories and stack them into an image called me, the anxious one, the failure, the one who's never enough. Then we live according to that story, forgetting that it's merely a tale repeated so often we began to believe it was real. The Buddha taught that there is no fixed self. Everything is impermanent, even the person you think you are. Thus, if pain once created an ego, awareness can liberate you from it. Letting go of the old self does not mean denying the past. It means being grateful that it helped you survive. The wounded ego once protected you from greater pain, once made you withdraw to feel safe. But eventually that shell stops being a shelter and becomes a prison. When you dare to open the door, the light enters. When you stop locking yourself inside old definitions, you begin to be reborn. Forgive the trembling version of you, it has already done its best. Then rise and step out of the story titled, I always fail. I'm not good enough. I'm just this kind of person. No one forces you to live in an old story. Every breath is a chance to begin again. Every new choice is a moment of recreation. Start acting like the person you wish to become, not the person you used to be. Speak with more kindness, think with more lightness, and face life with the eyes of one who finally understands. You don't have to be perfect to be worthy of peace. When you release the old ego, you do not lose yourself. You return to a vaster, clearer, freer nature. And as you walk that path of returning, there will come a time when you must walk alone. That is when the seventh principle appears, learn to walk alone. There are seasons in life when every connection seems to drift away. Fewer people understand you, fewer walk beside you. Yet within those silences, you begin to hear your own footsteps. The Buddha once left his palace, abandoning every title, comfort, and pleasure, simply to seek the truth. And he awakened in solitude, not in the applause of the crowd. Solitary walking is not loneliness. It is the test of inner strength. When you can stand without being held, you have found real power. When you can walk without being understood, you have found freedom. Don't fear the days when no one praises you, agrees with you, or stays by your side. For that is when you meet yourself again, not through the mirror of others, but through the reflection of a still mind. Walking alone is not punishment. It is preparation. Preparation for maturity, for the path of leadership you are destined to take. Because only those strong enough to walk alone are clear enough to guide others later on. People today see multitasking as a symbol of efficiency, worth, and success. They eat while scrolling on their phones, listen while thinking about what to say next, work, while their minds wander elsewhere. And so every moment becomes fragmented, every second of presence stolen. They think they are living more, yet they are merely skimming across life's surface. The Buddha taught that mindfulness is the foundation of wisdom, for only when your mind is fully present in the moment do you truly live. Every action, no matter how small, can become meditation. When eating, just eat. When walking, just walk. When listening, just listen. This is not a rigid rule, it is a way of living with vitality. Because when you are fully present, everything deepens. The taste of rice becomes more vivid. The sound of the wind, laughter, and light all gain new meaning. You don't need to search for peace in the mountains. You only need to return to each breath, each movement, each heartbeat. When your mind is here, the past cannot pull you, the future cannot drag you, and worry cannot touch you. Life doesn't exist in plans, it exists in this moment where you are breathing aware, alive. That is the simplest miracle of mindfulness. It turns every ordinary minute into something sacred. But to live mindfully, you must also learn one parallel lesson to accept what is. People suffer not because of the present, but because they constantly resist it. They want the past to be different, the future to come sooner, and everything to go their way. But reality, whether you like it or not, remains reality. The Buddha taught that suffering ends when we stop fighting what is. Acceptance does not mean resignation. It is the first step toward wise action. When you say yes to the present, you reclaim your power. You are no longer dragged into the past by regret, nor pulled into the future by fear. You are here, calm, clear, and awake. View every circumstance as a lesson, not a sentence. If change is possible, act with wisdom. If not, accept with peace. Acceptance doesn't weaken you. It frees the energy once wasted on resistance. Life is impermanent. The weather shifts, people change, even your own heart transforms. Yet amid this flow, only the one who can pause truly sees. When you live mindfully, you stop chasing time. When you accept, you stop being a victim of fate. Together they become one awareness in action. And when you reach that state, life no longer needs to be perfect to bring you peace. Peace becomes your natural state of being. People often find it easy to love others, yet are merciless toward themselves. When someone else makes a mistake, we know how to forgive, to comfort, to soothe. But when we stumble, we become our own harshest judge. We whisper to ourselves, "I'm so stupid, I deserve this, I'll never make it." Those words, no one else's but our own, are the blaze that slowly harden the heart. The Buddha taught that compassion is never complete if it does not begin with oneself. For how can you give love when your heart is filled with judgment? How can you bring peace to others if you have not learned to be at peace with yourself? Self-compassion is not indulgence or excuse. It is understanding the limits of being human. It's knowing that you too have moments of weakness, of error, of fatigue, and none of that makes you any less worthy. When you fall, speak to yourself as you would to a dear friend. It's okay. I'm learning. I'm still moving forward. The voice within you is the environment your soul lives in. If it's cruel, your heart contracts. If it's kind, your spirit blooms. Learn to speak to yourself with gentleness. Embrace yourself on days when no one else will. Because when you stop fighting yourself, you begin to make peace with the world. From that compassion arises enough clarity to practice the 11th principle, breaking the cycle, by breaking the thought. Each day, thousands of thoughts drift through your mind. Most are old refrains. I'm not good enough. I always fail. No one understands me. Repeated often enough, they become beliefs and then destiny. But the Buddha taught, mind precedes all things. Mind is their chief mind, creates them all. The world you live in is but a mirror reflecting what you think continuously. To change your life, you must change your mind. To change your mind, you must observe your thoughts. Begin with awareness. When a negative thought arises, don't rush to believe it. Ask, is this true? Does this serve me? Most of the time you'll find it's just an echo from the past, no longer relevant to who you are now. That moment of recognition breaks one link of the chain. Next, replace it with empowering thoughts. I am learning and growing. I am not perfect, but I am improving every day. I deserve a new beginning. This isn't blind positivity. It's mental discipline training, the mind to choose the right direction amid countless paths. Each time you catch a limiting thought and replace it with an empowering belief, you are reprogramming your life. Bit by bit, the old mental current dissolves, making way for a brighter flow. And one day you realize you're no longer imprisoned by your own thinking. You've become the guardian of your mind, awake, clear, and free. Amid life's storms, amid the chaos that clouds the mind and shakes the heart, there is always something that never leaves you: the breath. The Buddha taught that the breath is not merely air sustaining the body. It is the anchor of mindfulness, the thread that unites body, mind, and spirit, guiding you back to the home of inner peace. When life sweeps you away, when the mind is dragged to the past or thrown into the future, simply pause and breathe. One deep inhale, one slow exhale, and the doorway to the present opens. The breath is the bridge between chaos and calm, between fear and awareness. It reminds you that now is enough. When you bring your full attention to the breath, the outer world fades for a moment, and another world appears, the world of stillness. Within each breath lies life itself, the rhythm of impermanence, the lesson of receiving and releasing. Inhaling, you receive. Exhaling, you let go. Repeat this simple cycle and you cleanse your mind, release stagnant energy, and reconnect with the primordial flow of the universe. The breath is a silent teacher, showing you balance, not holding too long, not releasing too quickly. It teaches you to slow down, to be present, and to remember that peace is not a destination, but a state you can touch the moment you return to yourself. Make the breath a sacred ritual of living. In the morning, before the world touches you, touch yourself through a few deep breaths. At night, before closing the day, let each breath carry away fatigue, tension, and worry. When angry, breathe. When anxious, breathe. When afraid, breathe. Each breath renews your life. And soon you realize, in the moment you are aware of your breath, your mind is no longer pulled by the past, nor haunted by the future. You are here fully alive in this moment, and only in the present does life truly exist. Thus, all 12 principles are not doctrines, but a declaration of living. From letting go of control, sitting with yourself, embracing pain, simplifying life, becoming the observer, releasing the old ego, learning to walk alone, practicing mindfulness, accepting what is cultivating, compassion, transforming thought to, returning to the breath, all lead back to one place: you. Not the person you're trying to become, but the one who has always been there, still, clear, complete. You are not broken. You are being reborn. You are not lost. You are being called home. Do not rush to seek enlightenment somewhere far away, for this very breath is proof that you are alive, and to live is the miracle itself. Walk slower, breathe deeper, and see life through the eyes of one who has awakened. For in the end, true power does not dwell in the world's noise, but in your inner stillness. Peace is not a reward. It is your original nature once you stop resisting. And in that moment, as you breathe, smile, and become fully present, you're not merely living, you're returning home to yourself.